Real Health is designed building environments that heal you and a life that fulfills you. One thing really stood out to me over the course of my journey over the past years, the most dangerous thing isn't being unwell, it's actually being misaligned. Physically present, but mentally and spiritually checked out in your life. So this is me back in 2016. I'm on a canyon in Zion in Utah. This is where I found the feeling of purpose for the first time. On top, I was on top, standing there, I was looking out in the canyon, and I had this overwhelming feeling of freedom, happiness, and joy. It was absolutely exhilarating. This was one of the things that I wanted to feel for the rest of my life. At that time, I didn't really know how. But the one thing I did know is that I wanted to make a decision at that point. So I decided that I was gonna figure out a way to feel this way every day of my life. So from there, I found out I couldn't do this through a 9 to 5. There had to be another way, because if I'm clocking in on somebody else's clock, there's no way I'm gonna be able to feel that sense of freedom. So fast forward, I tried so many different things. M3 was a marketing agency that I ran. That bow tie there was a logo I created in Canva very quickly, in like 2 minutes, threw up an e-commerce store. That failed as well. I was a personal trainer for a while, vegan as well. I even did the camera work for an agency, and then I did a lot of affiliate marketing, network marketing, you name it. There's probably 20 different opportunities that I did all at once over the past couple of years. Fast forward, we are at now December of 2017. I got a call 2 days before an event. My buddy says, I got a photography gig that I can get you to shoot. Do you want to do it? And me at the time, I was a yes man. I was like, you know what? Let's just say yes, let's go for it. And little did I know that that opportunity would change my life. That was the first time that I found out that you can make money and you can love what you do at the exact same time. You can find some fulfillment in that. So I'm still doing that today, but those are some of the pictures. That picture down on the left side, that was somebody random just took a picture of me, and I knew that was gonna be, I'd share that someday soon. And then I've been doing all this stuff ever since. So fast forward, let's go 5 months. So at that time, through all those opportunities that I did, I accumulated a lot of debt. I was running up credit cards, all that kind of stuff, through all the opportunities and everything I was trying. And one thing was really hit me that night in April. I was on the GO train home, and I was feeling hopeless and broken, and I just wanted the pain to end. So I was thinking in my head, I was like, what can I do? So I had sitting on the bench when I was on my way home, and I had a voice in my head that said, just try one more time. So I applied to 53 different jobs that night, and I would get a phone call the next day that would save my life. I landed on this opportunity. This is Young Guns Container Crew. Believe it or not, it was labor. I just said yes to it. I was like, let's do it. And that opportunity, I've never felt more fulfilled ever in my life. I felt a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, and you can see on the back of that picture there, they have all the Young Guns values there. And on top of that, within the first 6 months, this is the first opportunity that I moved up 3 times in over 6 months. And it was because the environment that I was in was conducive to growth. I felt like I belonged, I felt like I was valued, and I felt like I had a bit of purpose. About a year later, I got my first car, paid off a lot of my debts, and that's what really catapulted me to the future. So fast forward, I left that opportunity. I felt like I was really capped. If there's anybody in this room that's been in an opportunity where they're like, you can't move up any longer, that was me. They said, you can't move up any longer, Matt. Unless you move to Australia, you can't move up. So I was like, okay, cool. I have to look at something else. A buddy at the time had started an agency, and he was like, do you want half the company? I was like, you know what? Let's jump in and do something new. So I decided, let's do it. So I left that chapter. I moved on to a new chapter. I started Growth Boss, which is a marketing advertising agency, still operating today. And I did that for about 3 years. On paper, everything was good. I was feeling great, and I was doing everything I loved. My skills were being put to the test. Everything was good. But I learned a really important lesson. Success without fulfillment feels really empty. At that time, I didn't have a spark inside. Past 3 years, I wasn't lit up. So if you guys have ever felt that feeling when you're doing something that you love, you feel lit up inside. Your soul feels like it's on fire. I just wasn't feeling that. So I was constantly auditing my environment over the past couple of years. I'm the kind of person that I'm constantly looking at, what can I take out? What can I change? What can I do to make my life better? If you think about like a statue, I'm constantly carving and figuring out how can I make this look better? I did it over the past couple of years. So I looked at, there's a couple of big things that I was auditing constantly. I looked at my circle, I looked at the places I moved through, think your gym, your home, the fuel I put in my body as well, being a PT background, that was a huge thing that I learned there, and the media I actually consumed as well. These were all things that helped me develop an understanding of myself. Now, I didn't realize it, but this was me actually designing my external environment intentionally. But in 2025, I was feeling stuck again in grind culture. I don't know if anybody feels that way right now in a job that you're in right now, and you just feel like you're stuck in grind culture, constant copies, feeling disconnected from family and friends. That's what I was feeling. I was actually speaking to Ashley, which is one of our next speakers. We were speaking a couple months ago, and she was saying how, Matt, you've mastered your external environment, your external state, but your internal state needs a lot of work. And there's something that dawned on me. It was your internal state is what you need to master first before you can actually feel true fulfillment. So I found out that 3 of these things, and this slide looks absolutely horrible because I exported it, but it's okay. So these 3 things are the most important to have dialed in if you want to feel true fulfillment. So your internal energy, your external environment, and your work. So freedom, fulfillment, and belonging, they will become your default state and not just fleeting moments if you can get all those 3 right. So if anybody can tell me, I want you guys to look at these 2 pictures. Somebody tell me the difference between the 2. Can anybody tell me? Anybody see the difference? The eyes, yeah, the smile on the right. So if you ever see people in pictures, something that I've noticed even in myself over the years is I used to smile like this instead of like this. So if you're feeling really happy and you're actually feeling fulfilled, you're gonna look more like the person on the right versus the person on the left. It's a huge difference. You'll notice this if you look at all your pictures, and if you look at those moments, you reflect back, you're like, okay, what was happening in my life during that time? And you could really see if you were truly happy or not. So let's do a couple more questions. So has anybody ever felt like you're always tired, but you can't sleep? Anybody? And another one, you're surrounded by people, but you really feel unseen. Anybody? What about this? You're productive, but you're still unfulfilled. That, ladies and gentlemen, is disconnection. That's what it feels like. So your environment may have shaped your personal reality, AKA your personality, but that's not the end. Your purpose actually shapes your destiny. So the message here is you have the power to change. You have the power to change your external environment, and you can find purpose. So how do we get reconnected? That's the real question. First, to find purpose. By the way, this is what that hike looked like. If you guys ever go to Zion Canyon in Utah, and you do this hike called Angel's Landing, you literally have 4 foot on either side, and this is the only thing keeping you from falling down the cliff. So it was a lot of fun, it was exhilarating, but find purpose first. This is where I started. Then plant it and germinate. All right. So has anybody ever heard of the thing called Ikigai? It's a Japanese term. Anybody? You've heard of Ikigai? You've heard of it as well? So this is a Japanese word for purpose. What it means is a reason for being. Ikigai is 4 things, if you guys don't know what it is. It's a combination of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. My journey, I've been looking for my Ikigai for a long time, and I've failed a lot to be able to finally stumble upon it, and I think I have. So, going back. So, one of the takeaways I want you guys to take away today is think about those 4 questions, and the intersection of those 4 questions is where you're gonna find purpose and a lot of fulfillment. If you can identify those 4 things, you're gonna find purpose there. All right, so purpose does need the right soil to grow. So you gotta think about that. So you can't just have purpose, you actually need the right environment for it to grow and flourish. Okay, that comes down to your external environment and your internal energy. Think about your internal energy like the sun in this example. So again, we're going back to your circle of influence, the places you move through, the fuel you choose, and the media you consume. What I want you guys to do is turn to the person next to you, and I want you to share one thing in your environment from those 4 pillars that we talked about that you know needs an upgrade. I'll give you guys like 15 seconds. So here are the 4 pillars, guys. Your circle, what needs to change in your circle, the places you move through, the fuel you choose, so what you eat, what you consume, and the media you decide to consume as well. And guys, think about a specific example from that. So if it's circle of influence, think about like your friend group, your family. Think about the people you interact with on a daily basis, even people at work. The places you move through, think about like, do you frequent the gym? Your home environment, does that need to change? Do you need to like, is there a bad roommate that you need to get away from and move into a new environment? Is Toronto not a great place to live? Do you want to move down south to completely change your environment? Think about that, fuel as well, and then media you consume. External environment also impacts your internal environment. You guys got to realize that as well. This is one big thing in my story that I realized with Ashley this year. Actually, I was so into fixing my external environment, I didn't realize the power that was actually in me was affecting how I was moving. So again, these 4 things are going to be impacted by, they're going to impact your internal environment. Okay, and that is your emotional state. So we all have ups and downs, and there's a different spectrum of emotions that we're all going to go through. It's important that we try and stay the latter half of the spectrum, which is the good spectrum. Has anybody ever seen this downward spiral? I think a lot of the kids these days, they're saying crash out or meltdown. Like I'm a bit older, so we used to call it a meltdown. A lot of the kids are saying crash out. So this is what crashing out looks like. So you go from boredom, pessimism, disappointment, it just gets worse and worse and worse. You actually want to be on an upward spiral. So you want to be filled with love, joy, appreciation, freedom, but that comes from contentment, hopefulness, and you work your way up the spectrum. Okay, so think about it like this. When you live in a state of fear, shame, or doubt, and I've been there as well, and that's what I was stuck in grind culture. It's like planting seeds without water, nothing grows. There's no sunlight, there's no aeration, and nothing's gonna grow. But when you choose joy, gratitude, love, you shift into higher states of energy and you start watering the world around you. Suddenly, I don't know if any of you guys have experienced it, I'm getting chills. But opportunities, clarity, and the right people start to show up. I don't know if anybody's experienced this where you're having a bad day, you hit one red light, and then all of a sudden, all the lights are red. And then you're having a good day, you have one good thing happen, and then you're in a good state, and then the rest of the day turns out to be amazing. That's what this is all about. So if you're feeling like, man, I'm in a bad state, you're not lazy, you're not broken. You're just in an environment and a state of energy that doesn't match your next chapter. Now, imagine this feeling for a moment. You wake up feeling energized, happy, you're not tired. You get into an environment, in a work environment that you absolutely love what you do. And on top of that, you're surrounded by people that make you feel seen, you belong, you feel included, you feel valued. And on top of all that, you're free from the weight of pretending finally. That's not a fantasy. This is what happens when you align your environment, your energy, and your purpose. So extraordinary health and lifestyle, they're not found, they're actually designed. And you deserve to design a life that sets your soul on fire. You don't have to wait, you just have to make a deliberate decision to fix your fate. Ashley and I, she's in this room as well, we're co-founders of a company called Fix Your Fate. And we realized the day before Valentine's Day, we were like, okay, let's have some chocolate, let's talk. And we talked about all of our friends and how everybody's really struggling these days. There is an epidemic of loneliness in our world. I don't know if you guys feel it, maybe you guys are feeling it yourselves. So myself and Ashley were like, okay, the dating world sucks. People can't even build relationships anymore. It's all swipe a person. That's Ashley's term, by the way. I'm not gonna steal her thunder. There's swipe a person, and right now everybody's just feeling absolutely disconnected. So we were like, how can we fix this? I'm a coach. I help people find purpose in their life, and I also help them perform at a high level. We are creating a community of people that are just like us, that want to help us on this mission to fix this big problem that we have in our world. That's our Fix Your Fate community. We have a podcast with a couple of guests that are actually in the room that are on the podcast as well. It's going to be streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. And we got something really cool. If you guys know how bad the dating culture is right now, me and Ashley are on a mission to fix it. So we're going to be hosting curated, invite-only matchmaking events that are her thunder, anything but basic. So, and I'll leave you with this. In the heart of human connection, let's stay connected. Thank you.